What we can do is bring you now live to Fox 35's Valerie Boey. She is there in downtown, joining us with the very latest. Talk again, Valerie, what you saw as Markeith Loyd was brought out of that vehicle inside the building.
Hey there. Well, it was around 7:25 when we were outside the back of the police department, and there was just dozens of police cars that just zoomed by. And so we stood there and we waited for the officers to go up to the door and take him out. And then when they did, he kept saying, "They beat me up, they beat me up." And I tried. I said, "Well, you know, what else do you have to say?" And all he would say was, "They beat me up." And he kept turning around to me, and it was like he wanted to say more, but obviously the officers want him inside so they could question him and arrest him and all. After that, well, a few minutes later, the police chief came out, had a huge smile on his face. You could just see the relief in his face. And I asked, "Chief, you know, can you tell us a little bit about the arrest?" And he said he plans to. He just couldn't do it at the moment because obviously he was busy. He had to go and book Markeith Loyd. But he promised that he would talk at around 8:30 tonight. So we're still waiting on all the details to come in, and we're actually inside setting up. Outside the police department, let me show you over here. There's a few ambulances as well as a fire truck. They're usually not here, so I'm wondering if maybe they're here for Markeith Loyd, because he did have some bruises on his face. And then, of course, to the left, you'll see the patrol car of Lieutenant Clayton. It was just this weekend when we attended her funeral, as well as the funeral of Deputy Norman Lewis. So you can imagine Chief Mina must be extremely relieved that this guy is finally put behind bars.
Valerie, we know that you were standing just a few feet from him. Talk to us about what you saw on his face. It looked like he had some sort of an injury. It looked like there might be some blood on his face. You got a much closer look at him. Talk to us about that.
Actually, his face looked really puffy. I could see like it was like a big puff right over here, and it looked like he'd just been beaten up. But obviously, you know, they had to do what they had to do to take him in, take him down, and looked like he had a lot of bruises on him. Couldn't really see his body because the officers were covering him. But again, his face looked like he had a lot of bruises there.
Yeah, and for those just joining us, he did say several times, "They beat me up, right, Valerie?" But I would assume at this point that there's not going to really be an issue here of police brutality, considering the individual that they were taking into custody.
Absolutely. This is a man who's extremely dangerous, as we know, so they're going to do whatever they have to do to take him down and take him in, and I'm sure no one's going to argue that they had to do what they had to do.
Valerie, once they took him inside, I can just imagine the conversations that were going on with other journalists, with some of the police officers who were standing around, any sort of support staff. Paint the picture for us there. What were you hearing as soon as they took him through those doors?
Well, as soon as they took him through those doors, I think it was the assistant chief, he came on out and he goes, "Hey, you know, I need you to move right now." And I'm like, well, can't I just stay? And he said, "No, you got to go to the front of the building. That's because we plan to take him out again for you guys, so you could see him again." So that'll probably happen after the chief talks to us about what had happened and how it all went down. So we're going to be here all night long, and obviously we will bring that to you live as soon as it happens.